Hello and welcome to today's video. So this time we're going to be having a look at some recent eBay sales for winter 2023, and we start off with the full set of the Dennis Wheatley Library of the Occult, all 45 books. They're not exactly in the best of conditions, but you only ever see them in a set, now and again really, maybe about once a year if you're lucky. See odd volumes pop up here and there, and they're pretty much all reprint stuff. £132 for the set. Don't know. Maybe that's okay, judging by the condition. I always keep an eye out for Agatha Christie and Albatross, and this one was still had its dust wrapper, but it was still quite low grade, as you can see. Just a touch under £20 for that one, which is about right, to be honest, for one in that condition. Yeah, 1959. Quite scarce there. Now, a little batch of scarcer vintage Penguin books. This is Rookery Nook, which itself is quite a scarce regular Penguin, but this particular edition was published for the Prisoner of War book service, so published as a Forces book club, then rebound for the Prisoners of War. It's 148.59, quite scarce, that one. Here's a very early Penguin catalogue, not the first one, but certainly a very early one. And you don't see these very often either. Got that late 1930s charm about it. And I do absolutely love Penguin printed ephemera from this period. It's just fantastic. Really like it. Yeah, 24.57, not bad for that. Here's one of those Forces book clubs. Sea Escapes and Adventures. Pretty nice condition. This is much better than they usually turn up in, which is hammered. This is quite a nice one. For month number 8, there was 120 different ones of these. Some go for much more than others. Yeah, 129.57 on that one. Here's another Prisoner of War title, Modern Battle, which was a Penguin special. Once again, there really isn't a definitive list of all the books that were put into Prisoner of War format, and but this is one of them, and it's a scarce one. No two ways around it. I've got a handful of Prisoner of War issues, maybe about 8. I really like them. I just love holding them and thinking of their history. But yeah, very scarce. And here's the last one of these, which is another Forces book club. This one is a little bit more common. So this one for £56.99. Social Life in the Insect War. I think it's a reprint of a Pelican. Once again, a Forces book club title. As I said, one of 120 different ones that were published from month number 11 on that one. All quite scarce. Now this is quite a nice lot. This is a load of Ace books, Ace doubles, and they're all science fiction titles as well. And I've been enjoying collecting Ace. They're not all fantastic. Some are definitely better than others, and some of these later Ace doubles don't really appeal to me, but it was still nice to see them in a big run like this. And on the whole, they look to be in terrific shape, which is always a plus, isn't it? But there's some good stuff in there, just perhaps not always in the best packaging. This was nice, a full set of the Pan Book of Horror Stories. This worked out at £392. That's $500. This is sold in America, but it is the full run 1 to 30, but not all first editions. So the early books are all reprints. And I think that's a much tougher ask, is to try and get the set in first printings, which is what I'm trying to do. It's a tall order. Inevitably, there's a few James Bonds, and we look at some the more expensive vintage Pan sales. We'll go through the British publishers, then we'll do some of the American ones as well. So this was the first of Casino Royale. Bit of a beaten up old copy there, but yeah, 325 all best offer. That one sold for a lot of money for that. This was nice, 62 Agatha Christie's, but £165 seemed expensive for a real mishmash of editions. There were some Pound ones, some Fontana, some later Collins ones. I don't know, a bit of a mixture that possibly I might have given that lot a miss, to be honest, but it was the best of the sort of Christie lots that I saw recently in the last few months. She's still very, very popular. Yeah. You see a few lots like that, people who've collected them. I mean, they're not exactly top shape, are they? But yeah, 165 for that. Now this was 9 later Pound Books: A Horror Story. These are in better condition than that first lot, but still not mint by any means, you know. And the real tough ones, you know, what I would consider the hardest: 27, 28, 29. There's 27. There's 28. 29 and 30 were missing. Yeah, they were £227 that went for. Here's another copy of a Casino Royale, much better condition than that first one we saw. This one actually went for a bit less money. I think it's the reprint though. Yeah, that's the second print, and there's two Casino Royale in that cover. £150, one print, one bid. This is a set of the Raymond Hawkeys, sold for £150. So if you want them all in the original editions, and it's a great way to actually read the original books, I think, is to have them in a set like this. £150 seems to be the going rate for these nowadays, and they're almost iconic, aren't they? A few there though looking the worse for wear, that's for certain. This is a secondary set, 10 of the they call them the still life ones because these are photograph covers. There's obviously lots and lots of different series to collect with James Bond. And yeah, these are the posed photographs, as it were. Sort of early 1970s, I believe, these ones. Published by Pan. Lots and lots of photos. Of course, eBay allows you to put up about 24 photos these days, so some people really go to town on it, which is not a bad thing. Yeah, £109. This is an interesting lot for £100. If you look closely, if you're a Penguin expert, you can see that there is actually some quite tough titles in there. But once again, debatable if they're actually worth £100 for that lot. You might struggle to really get your value for money, and almost certainly you'd just be doubling up on quite a bit of it. But yeah, there were a few decent vintage Penguins tucked away. There's some scarcer ones for certain. Yeah, a few trickier ones. Quite a big run of the Shakespeare there. Looking to be in nice condition. That was £100, that lot. This one we've seen before, Bernadette Devlin. She was something to do with the IRA, possibly. Yeah, Irish MP. That's it. Yeah, in Northern Ireland, and that one consistently goes for good money if you ever come across it. I've yet to find one, but I've seen it sell 2 or 3 times for decent money. So one to keep your eyes peeled on, because that might be very easily overlooked. £75 that went for. Here's one of the first editions of On Her Majesty's Secret Service, £395 for this one. Not too bad a copy, a little tear in the front of the cover there, bottom left corner. There's actually 3 different versions of the first printing. Most of them were exported, and it is rare in the UK. Simple as that. So people collecting the first, that's the rarest one. It's rarer than even Casino Royale or Moonraker. This was on the road, and not a particularly nice copy of it, but once again quite a scarce Pan giant. You can see, look at the state of it. £85 is sold for, which to me seemed an awful lot. I mean, this used to turn up quite regularly, and look at the state of it, but I haven't seen one for sale in a long time, so maybe it's just very scarce. This one turns up, you maybe see 3 or 4 a year. of this particular one. George Burt was quite a famous tattooist, and this only ever had the £1 printing. I eventually got one last year. I had to be patient, and even I paid like £35–36 for one. But that went for 80 quid. This is just a scarce printing of Dr. No with that particular cover. There was that cover, and there was one which is known as the Director's Edition, which is got the same jacket, except that this one's missing the Director's flash. So that particular printing, like that, exactly like that, as far as I know, only ever had the one printing, so that's why it's gone for £70. Octopussy, also quite scarce. Most copies, once again, were exported of the first printing, so you often see sets without the first print of Octopussy included, and there it is. Never ever turns up in nice nick. It's a tough one to find yet again. £50 or best offer. This was astonishing, really. I mean, it is scarce, but I mean, I've had at least two through my hands, and you do see it. It's not the peak of rarity. It's just before the worst period for finding penguin crime. But this one went for £300, £299.99. That's a lot for that one. That's expensive. This one as well, £200 for this, which I'd almost be tempted to say, well, it's uncommon, but it's not mega rare like that. It really isn't. I mean, you know, any dealer's catalogue will probably have a copy of this one, and I think someone, once again, has probably overpaid a little bit for that one. So, you know, there it is. Now, this was, I thought, what on earth? £100 for this, which is a book which usually goes for 15 to 20. However, it has got, this was a period when it's got a blank back. So Penguin were accepting adverts on the back covers, and say that had a print run of 25,000, the first 20,000 might have the advert on, and the last 5,000 might be blank. So it's a variant, and that's probably why someone's paid 100 for that one. This one I couldn't see anything, because, you know, it's got the regular edition. It is that scarce wartime period for Penguin, but even so, I wouldn't have expected this to go for much more than 25 to 30, and this again it's gone for 100, so maybe it's just the only one out there. This one I bought £77.50. It was one I was down to 2 at the time to complete my first 1,000. I bought this one, cover detached. I've now repaired this one, and I didn't think that was too bad a price at all. £77.50, so I need just the one book now. And also what I believe is one of the scarcest King Penguins, which is A Christmas Carol in first printing. Really nice edition of this one. £50 I think is about right for this, although that one's a little bit worn, but it's scarce. It was the last King Penguin I needed, that one. Right, on to a few other bits and pieces now. This is R. Chetwynd Hayes, another horror anthology. Tandem, £45 that one went for. The Klansman, this is one on the Ku Klux Klan. It's actually a movie tie-in. Lee Marvin and Richard Burton. Don't think I've ever seen the movie, but that's the tie-in to it as well. 33 or best offer on that one. Vengeance of She. It's a sequel to the H. Rider Haggard original. Peter Tremaine. Nice copy of that one. Great jacket. £33. This is the set of the Howling books, 1, 2 and 3. Bit of wear on the first one. Second and third are okay. £26. That's not bad, is it? Alligator. What a classic. There was a few books a bit like this around the time of Jules, and alligators and crocodiles were one of them. £26 for that one. This is, from what I can see, it's just a regular copy of The Exorcist. It's not the first printing. It's an American printing, but even so, not in particularly nice shape. £16? I just don't believe it. This is nice. This is the original unauthorized set of Lord of the Rings. £290. These are published in America by Ace. Don't often see them, but there seems to be plenty online, so they obviously sold well. And the Ace Special first printing in paperback of Neuromancer. This was a particularly nice copy. It sold in... this is the first printing of it, because it did get reprinted. it's not mint, but it's you know, better than most. Yeah, July 84 was the printing date on that one. Introduction by Terry Carr. Look at that, $300. This was a rather beaten up copy of the Ace Double of Junkie. One I wouldn't mind picking up in Ace and Digit, in all honesty. I'd love to get a copy of this, but yeah, that needs more than a miracle, that one, doesn't it? Yeah, £235. This is lovely, this one. Badge of Whit Masterton. Now, this is 1957. I always thought Whit Masterton did westerns, but you know, this is once again a bit of a movie tie-in, I believe. Orson Welles there on the front. Nice copy of that one, and beautiful looking book. One I've never seen before. I'm not a corgi expert, but that is one I wouldn't mind. That's lovely. That £72. Wow. The June Encyclopedia. This one always goes for good money, and I'm amazed it's never been reprinted. It looks a fantastic book. I used to have one back in the day. It was remaindered, and this one's certainly not in the greatest of shape. I think it went on a best offer for, well, it might pop up in a minute, £70 or £80, something like that. There is an American edition. That's the British one. Yeah, I think that should be reprinted personally. You know, I don't understand why it's not available these days. Yeah, although it says 110, I think it went for about 70 or 80. This one, once again, it's a movie time, Virgin Witch. One that passed me by, I'm afraid to say. Klaus Vogel. Yeah, there's a few stills there. Patricia Haynes. Don't know much about that one, but look at the state of it. It's evidently scarce to go for that sort of money. 70 quid again. This one, £50. It consistently sells. Any of the John Carpenter tie-ins seem to do very well. And this is the British adaptation of The Thing by Alan Dean Foster. Nice copy. You can see that. It's a nice, pretty nice one there. Yeah, this was nice. Another nice corgi. One, once again, I wasn't 100% sure about if I've ever seen this one. Not in the greatest of conditions, but unusual. You see the science fiction ones around quite a bit, in all honesty, and I've got quite a few of them. But the other stuff, much scarcer, it seems. And, you know, you think of the age of these, they're not really turning up that frequently. That one went for £36, that Wages of Fear. Here's another one, the adaptation of The Fog. Another John Carpenter. £40 for this corgi tie-in. Once again, these do turn up, so they're worth keeping an eye out for. Eve of Midsummer. Don't know much about this one. Sort of looks, well, yeah, devil worship, satanic. It's a popular subject. I think it's as simple as that. And anything like that tends to be quite sought after. The occult in general. It's just a good saleable subject. So if you ever see that sort of stuff around, pick it up with a view to moving it on. But £32, that one. Sandbaggers. Now, this was a TV show that I never really watched. Can't really remember. I know of it, but I never watched it. And this was the second tie-in book to it. Looks a nice copy. Never come across that before. So, see the Sandbaggers one. £30 that went for. The Sandbaggers one was another one which is quite sought after. Once again, I couldn't believe. I mean, it's gone for £25. I can't believe I've yet to come across a copy of this, because I've liked the movie ever since it came out, and I would have picked one up and saved it if I'd ever come across a copy of Quadrophenia, and I haven't. So that makes me think it is quite a scarce movie tie-in, this one. So once again, worth picking this one up. This one wasn't mint by any means, but £25 for that. Odd cover. I would have I got the Lambretta. I would have preferred the movie poster. This is a reasonably tatty, but it's still the first edition copy of the Corgi I Am Legend by Richard Matheson. Great book. and the Corgi edition is great. Look at the state of this one. But it is, I think, scarce in first printing. I've got a real nice one, but it's not a first. I think it's maybe a third. This was gorgeous. I've got a few Mickey Spillane from this period, and this particular one I haven't got, and it's also signed there. Hi Shirley, very glad to see you. And there he is, Mickey Spillane on the back, and it's a first print from 16. I would have loved that one. That went for about £20. I don't think that's bad at all, signed. Yeah, the adaptation for RoboCop. These are really coming of age now, a bit like the Terminator ones from the period. $32.50. Wow, wow. And this is, you know, not mint by any means, but they're 35 years old. Another one, early 80s, Escape to Victory. I don't think I've ever seen this in paperback, but I'd never would have looked for it. And wow, you know, I mean, I'm this sort of thing I would have picked up if I'd ever come across a copy, which I never have. £20. Nuts. And this is nice. It's a Ray Bradbury Halloween Tree. It's a nice British one. Illustrated edition as well. There we are, Corgi 1975. Just quite a nice edition of that one, which I wouldn't mind, 1950. And George Romero's Dawn of the Dead tie-in. This one only went for a tenner, but pretty beaten up at the same time. Yeah, a bit of a rough old copy, that one. But £9.99, that's a bit more like it. Lovely, lovely copy to Android's Dream of Electric Sheep, The Panther, first printing, 1972. Nice copy, £65. Blimey. This one I haven't got that. That's a very, very nice one indeed. Couple of reading creases, so not mint, but rare. Certainly rare. I have got this one. This one went for £27. It's not perfect. Sold in the States for Million Sands. Another lovely, lovely Ballard here. Yeah, one of my favourite covers, that one. But yeah, not the greatest of copies, but still very nice indeed. Fantastic, that one. Chris Foss cover. Absolute classic. Went for £40, that one. And one of the best, I think you'll agree. And a reasonably nice copy. That's definitely been read at least once, but a couple of stamps in, letting it down slightly. But even so, £40, what would a mint one go for? 50, 60, possibly. This I couldn't believe, because this is, you know, a few books like this. This is on Ian Hunter, yeah, lead singer of Mott the Hoople. Okay, yeah, admittedly, perhaps scarce. So there's very similar books as ones on Slade, Paul McCartney, Elton John, all from this sort of period. But I don't think I've ever seen this one on Ian Hunter. So I don't know, maybe it's just rare. But I was very, very surprised to see that had gone for 40 or best offer. This is quite a nice edition of Slaughterhouse 5, Kurt Vonnegut. Panther again. Very bold, iconic cover, 1530. A set of 4 of the Avengers, Panther again, $23.99. Not actually too bad, because they look fairly decent copies of those. And I think all of them only have the one printing. They have got much scarcer than you might think nowadays. Gorgeous Chester Himes in Panther. They did him so well. And there's about 3 different versions from the mid to late 60s of Chester Himes in Panther. They're all fantastic. That's a particularly nice one that stood out for me. He's great author. And those Panther editions are very nice indeed. This is nice. Little H.P. Lovecraft, Dagon, and Other Macabre Tales. Got that lovely Panther logo in the bottom. The Panther Oblite, I think we're calling it now. $13.99. Here we are. So £1,500, all best offer for this copy of Rage by Richard Batman, aka Stephen King. Very, very sought after and collectible book. Consistently goes for upwards of £1,000 nowadays. All the Bachman books are expensive, including the omnibus paperback from, you know, the late 80s, early 90s, also expensive. I mean, the seller did it justice. Plenty of photographs, not the greatest of copies, but £1,500 all best offer. So you got to think that was northwards of £1,000 for that one. First printing. This was a lovely set. This is all the first 6 Junes, all in first printings. The 4 original Pennington covers, Bruce Pennington covers, but they're all the firsts in pretty nice condition as well. Look at that. If you're going to have them, that's, I guess, one way to do it. Very slight fading of the spines, as you can see, but you know, the text blocks and that, pretty nice. Those. That's about £130 for the set. So that's the paperback first set. Pretty nice, that. Yeah, first couple there. In fact, those three, tip top. Fantastic. I'm surprised it didn't go for more, but I think possibly it was on a buy it now. But yeah, all the first printings of those, and even 130 to me, that seems cheap. It really does. Yeah, 125 or best offer. I bet someone put in a cheeky offer on that and got it accepted. This is one I'd not seen before. It's a slightly more modern Stephen King box set of 3 of his earlier books. Quite a nice one with that all black slipcase. This is probably quite tough to find in nice condition, but the books themselves, I remember those quite vividly with the like the embossed logo of his name. Very nice indeed. It's the sort of thing you could easily come across. Look at that, £120. That Phone Calls from the Dead. This one went for £85 in our money, but this one sold in eBay Australia. Astonishing Investigations of the World Beyond the Graves. It's one of those occult ones again, which do seem so popular. A bit beaten up. I did see a couple other copies of this one, which have also went for similar money. So yeah, look out for these New English Library ones. It's a collectible publisher, you know. Here's another one, consistently goes for good money. Eat Them Alive. I sort of vaguely remember this one, I think, from back in the day. Sort of in my early years of trawling the second-hand bookshops. I've never got one, but I'm going to keep an eye out for it now because all the copies have gone for good money. This was a lot of the biker books, something New English Library were famous for. Look at them all. A few doubles there as well, but it's unusual to see these in a lot. Certainly when I had my shop, we used to put them into bundles of like 10 at a time because that's how they would come in collections. So I don't know why you'd want so many copies of some of these books, but evidently someone was clearing them out. They're certainly not in the greatest of shape, but they are collectible. You know, they are definitely collectible. But I would, it's not an avenue I've ever gone down. I've got Girl on a Motorcycle, and that's about it. These ones don't interest me at all. But £77, 9 bids. The last 5 Edge books. Look at that. Now, these are scarce. All of them are scarce, but they're not in the greatest of shape. Look at that. Pretty rough condition. But that's the hardest ones to get. £77 for those. Here's quite a nice copy of number 55. Once again, I was surprised that this one went for the money that it sold of £45. I picked up recently the very last one I needed, which was number 60, and in the end I got it for £25, so I was very pleased with that. So I've got a video, I've actually already shot it, coming up on the Edge books. Science Fiction Monthly, where there's 11 copies from volume 1, so there's one missing, of the massive tabloid science fiction magazine with that beautiful, incredible artwork. I just love looking through them. It just takes you back in time, and you see so many great pieces of artwork. I just love it. It's a great magazine. Really is superb. I've completed the run now, and I'm just on the lookout for a binder. So if anyone's got one of them, give me a shout. I've one of the original official binders. But yeah, $48.95 for 11. This is a cool one. I used to have a copy of this. I don't know what happened to it. I remember the cover vividly. Incredible Melting Man. Yeah, I used to have this one. Just can't remember what happened to it. Phil Smith. $29.44. This is an early Guy N. Smith. It's also signed by him as well. Not one of his more recognisable ones, which are mainly crabs, of course, but there it is, signed by the late Guy N. Smith. And here is Night of the Crabs. Nice copy of one of the earlier ones. Love that cover, it's really great. £40 that one went for. Here's Edge related. This is by George Gilman. It's the set of 6 Undertaker books, which was his third sort of Western series set in sort of the Edge universe. And they're nice copies. That's sold by charity All 6 copies, £30. I would have had that set, because I don't own those, if I'd have seen that lot. A slight fading of the spines, but even so, quite a nice way to get the whole lot in one foul swoop. Yeah, another early Guy and Smith, Werewolf by Moonlight. And I suspect this might even be one of his very earliest books. Not in the greatest of condition. Lots of bidding on this one. And it was evidently, not in the greatest of shape, evidently in demand. And yeah, quite a few bids on this one. £26, 7 bids for that. This is quite a nice little lot, £22.99, 5 Barry Malzbergs. Once again, I probably would have grabbed this if I'd have seen it, because they all look in, nice condition. And I know my friend Steve has been raving about Barry Malzberg. He really likes him, so I probably would have tried those for that price. Yeah, quite a nice little lot. This was nice. This is a Piccolo box set, mid-60s one. Piccolo is the Pan Junior imprint. Beautiful condition, really distinctive artwork. And the books themselves, because they've been in the slipcase, minters. Look at that. Very, very nice indeed. Look at that. That's gorgeous, isn't it? Yeah, very, very nice. Yeah, £45 or best offer. Probably worth that. Ace Double number 1. Look, D1. This one went for £156 in British money. $199. That's the first ever Ace Double. Not one I don't think I've ever seen. Not that I'm trying to get them all or anything, but lovely to see the very first one there. It's one to look out for. A bit of a blurry picture there. But yeah, there it is. Too Hot for Hell. Yes. Cool stuff. Okay, I know one of the viewers of this channel collects every single edition of Earth Abides. This is the Ace one from the mid-60s. Look at that, signed by George R. Stewart. There we are. An actual signed copy. I don't think I've ever seen that before. Unfortunately, the actual book itself is a bit on the low-grade side, but how often do you see a signed copy of that? Not often. Here's another nice little lot. This is 25 SF ones. All doubles. Varying degrees of condition, but there's some key books here. Some of the Philip K. Dicks, for example, are here. Quite nice. So if you're starting to collect, this would have been the sort of lot you would be wanting to look out for. Yeah, some good ones there. Yeah, £82 in our money. Not bad for 25 of them. This was lovely. Awful condition, but signed by Ray Bradbury. And it looks like the... I think it was signed to maybe his editor. It looks like the seller wrote to Bradbury's daughter, who confirms through a Facebook post that this was in fact her dad's handwriting. She says she doesn't know who he's referring to, though. But yeah, there we are. So confirmed an original signature by Bradbury himself, but very tatty copy of the book. I would have given that a miss. Picked up a different Bradbury, to be honest. This is a series that you might want to pick up even individual volumes of if you see them. It's the Indiana Jones Find Your Fate adventure. That's the full set there, so quite desirable. £98. A set of the Starsky and Hutch books, all 8. These are published by Ballantine. I don't believe there's British editions. I think over in the UK we had these imports. I don't think there's British copies of these, but worth picking them up. They went for £100 for that set. It's quite a nice Ray Bradbury. I've actually got a copy of this one, but it's got the cover by Al Feldstein, who drew stuff for EC. Quite like that illustrator. This is a horror anthology. And another EC artist here. I keep meaning to get these. I've got one of them and it's not in the greatest of shape. There's 3. It's EC reprints once again. They do turn up because they were imported and sold in the UK, but I just don't seem to get lucky and find them. There we are. It's black and white reprints, but classic EC stuff. £25, about the going rate. Never seen this one before. I hardly ever see this, the making of Space 1999. I've never seen a copy in the UK. This is one I wouldn't mind getting a hold of. £17 that one went for. This is lovely. This is a lot of 5 John Lang books. Now, John Lang was Michael Crichton of Jurassic Park fame, and he wrote a few books in the early 70s before he had his bigger hits. And these were in particularly nice shape. Look at those spines. These were really top-notch copies. So consequently, they went for £227 for those 5. This was a surprise. This is the first printing of 1984. The British Penguin I've seen sell for about, in paperback, about £55, upwards of 55 for it. This is the first US, and it went for £100 in our money. This was also a surprise. So the first signet printing of iRobot. Once again, it was in particularly nice condition, much better than usual, but just a touch under £100 seems very expensive for that particular one, which I think is fairly common in all honesty. But yeah, that was quite a surprise, that one. Yeah, this one, not something I know. I don't even know the author. Just look at that cover though. God, that's a scene of devastation, isn't it? And then you just see that someone walking in with a gun in their hand. Just looks like a tough old situation, doesn't it? So a bit of hard-boiled crime there. A Mickey Spillane quote on the back. Yeah, quite an expensive one. Catcher in the Rye, J.D. Salinger. This is the first American printing of this one. Once again, signet. It was $49 this one went for. Once again, it's a modern-day classic, isn't it? And yeah, I do have a copy of this one, and the British one goes for about the same sort of money. They're both fairly sought after. British one's published by Penguin. Now the American signet printing of On the Road. We saw the Pan one earlier today. Here's the American first printing. Quite a few copies of this one have gone online. This seems far more common than the British printing. So yeah, £37 for that one. Iconic book. This is quite nice. I would have had this lot, although the price, £235. I may have paid maybe 50 quid for it. But it's a big run of P.G. Wodehouse. Not the full lot, but an awful lot of them. And I think we can agree that looking back over the books we've seen today, the paperback market is still quite healthy. We're still being revitalised, and depending on when you're watching this, don't forget we do have the London Paperback Show coming up in March, and I should be heavily advertising that on the channel. And if this has whetted your appetite for some decent collectible paperbacks, I think that's going to be the place to go. Certainly if we're in the UK. Then the final lot here, this one went for $1,000, $783. It's by KO, which I can only assume is KO Books from San Francisco, who I now believe have closed down, because I went and visited them a couple of years back and they were shut. I think they may have moved online. This is a fantastic batch of books, and they're all by cover artist Robert Maguire, who I really like. Not the more collectible titles, but it's just, you know, they're all covers by him from various authors. So very nice indeed. So there you go. Hope you've enjoyed today's little look through these eBay paperback sales. It's been quite a while since we've done one. I'll try and do another one maybe in a couple of months' time, just before the London Paperback Show. If you've not already, do please hit that subscribe button. Do please give the video a like if you've enjoyed it, and do leave a comment if you've seen anything that's piqued your interest or you didn't know that was collectible. Hopefully, you know, we're all learning about the collectible field of paperbacks, and I shall look forward to seeing you again very soon. Bye.